Today is Monday, July 28, 2014. It's the 209th day of the year, and there are 156 days remaining until the end of 2014. On this day in 1932, U.S. President Herbert Hoover orders the United States Army to forcibly evict the bonus army of World War I veterans gathered on Anacostia Flats in Washington, D.C. Since spring 1932, in the third year of the Great Depression, veterans of the First World War, their families and supporters, mostly men out of work since the Depression began in 1930, have been gathering down in D.C. By this day in 1932, there are 43,000 of them, camping out in a tent and makeshift shantytown they call Hooverville, out of respect for the president. They call themselves a bonus expeditionary force, playing off the AEF, the American Expeditionary Force, the military units that swanned into France in 1917, 1918, more than 1 million service members. In 1924, by act of Congress, the World War Adjusted Compensation Act has recognized the sacrifice of World War I veterans by rewarding them with certificates not payable until 1945. See, so grateful is the U.S. government the Crackerjack Prize for veterans is, they get to wait 20 years for a few bucks from Uncle Sam. Bonus Army marchers on this day in 1932, they want to see the money right now because, truth be told, they got kids to feed and they've been out of work for these 2 years. When the cops killed 2 guys from the Hooverville and Anacostia Flats across the river there, Hoover gets desperate and orders the army to get those nimrods out of town. They're making him look bad. No, not the cops, the vets. Here's the scene. As the 12th Infantry Regiment from Fort Howard, Maryland, with General Douglas MacArthur on horseback at the front of the column, and Major George S. Patton's 3rd Cavalry Regiment with 6 battle tanks. Tanks, man. Move into position. The marchers cheer because they think the army's come to join the protest. On their side, Patton orders his cavalry to charge into the mob. Well, come on, even without TV or smartphones, it just doesn't look all that good for the American government to mow down its own ragged veterans lately on the bum like that. And Hoover tries backpedaling, ordering MacArthur to stand down, but the general in the field, he has these hallucinations. MacArthur believes the government's in imminent peril from all these starving Marvins and orders a more determined attack, more tear gas, bayonets fixed. 1932. It's an election year. Hoover's chances for re-election all of a sudden don't look too good. Born this day in 1909, Malcolm Lowry, English author. He writes Under the Volcano, a pretty good book, while not autobiographical. All the elements are there. When Lowry's at school, he's already an alcoholic at the age of 14. It just gets worse from there, though. On the plus side, he's allegedly supposed to be some kind of genius writer. His gay school roommate wants more from him than he's willing to give, and when Lowry's all standoffish, the poor gay kid pines away and then kills himself. I know, it's tragic and all, but Lowry thinks, oh my God, it's all my fault. I'm so selfish, and he never gets over the sadness of it all. You know the feeling. When he dies in 1957, Lowry leaves a lot of unfinished typescript. Among other writings, one about himself in Mexico called Dark is the Grave Wherein My Friend Is Laid. Great title, but you see what I'm talking about. He's still thinking about the kid he pushed away all those years ago. Born this day in 1929, Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy Onassis, American journalist, 37th First Lady of the United States. You know her, the glamorous Audrey Hepburn of First Ladies. There's a particularly creepy White House recording of Jackie and Lyndon Johnson talking on the telephone just days after JFK's killed in Dallas. You can hear it on YouTube. Just search Jackie Kennedy and Lyndon Johnson. It's about 2 minutes long. It'll change your life. Or not, I don't care. Maybe Lyndon's trying to be fatherly talking to her like that. But he sounds sure enough like he's fondling the widow Kennedy through the phone line. Well, don't take my word for it. It's right there. Born this day in 1943, Mike Bloomfield, American blues guitarist and songwriter, played in the Butterfield Blues Band and his own blues rock, rhythm and blues fusion group Electric Flag with 19-year-old soul prodigy Buddy Miles in spring 1967. Bloomfield records one side of the 1968 Super Session album with Al Cooper, whom Bloomfield meets during recording sessions for Bob Dylan's Highway 61 Revisited. Cooper comes up with the idea of making a studio album of extended white boy blues jams. Bloomfield walks off the project after 1 day, so Cooper calls Stephen Stills in to finish the record. Bloomfield tries to medicate his chronic insomnia with heroin, becomes an addict, and derails. On February 15, 1981, they find his body dead of an overdose in a car in San Francisco. The story goes, Bloomfield dies at a party in the city the night before, and 2 other guys at the party haul his body into the car and drive him away. American author Stephen Crane writes, In the desert, I saw a creature, naked, bestial, who, squatting upon the ground, held his heart in his hands and ate of it. I said, "Is it good, friend?" "It is bitter." "Bitter," he answered, "but I like it because it is bitter, and because it is my heart." From Rutland, Vermont, this is Richard Alcott speaking.